Here, according to the subprime lending crisis, the economic impact of wealth, property values, and tax revenues, and how we got here. Foreclosed homeowners are projected to lose $71 billion due to foreclosure crisis. And while neighbors will lose $32 billion and states and local government will lose $917 million on property tax revenues. In the book, Fighting Foreclosure, I go into in-depth of how securitization works and the steps. And for our purpose here today with this module, since we are recommending this book with the DVD, you may want to go in and learn the details of what securitization is, and I will hit just a couple of high points for you, and then you could go ahead and read what you need to as far as learning these definitions, what REMICs are, and QSPEs, and some of the words that I'm using in the video. A typical mortgage pool consists of anywhere to 2,000 to 5,000 loans. And what that means is once a note has been sold from the bank to an investor and the securitization happens, these original notes are bundled up as a security bundle of monies and also have a number that is put on them for identification, and they're sold to investors in bundles of up to maybe 5,000 securitized notes. And in this process, it loses its identity as an original promissory note for a mortgage purpose, but it becomes a piece of paper that becomes monies for investors to use. So securitization, the reason why it's just so important to know is once the bank says goodbye to you and you leave and you think you are walking out with a great mortgage to buy a home, that note immediately begins a process of securitization and sold and resold until we as homeowners, myself, don't know exactly who to pay the payment to. Who owns it? Do I own it? Does the bank own it? Does the investor own it? Where is it? So as you go through this pass-through process that I explain in detail, you will see that through the tranches and through the investors and through the originators and the warehousers and the transfers, this structure is called the deal. And the deal is created through a complex instrument, and it serves as a declaration of a trust, identifies the parties who manage the deal, describes the duties, responsibilities, liabilities, and obligations, and defines different classes of investment securities, and is called the Master Pooling and Servicing Agreement. And this instrument is filed with the Security of Exchange Commission and becomes a public record. So the document is the most important source of discovery as it provides the who, the how, the where, and the when of the deal. So as you learn the transfer, the underwriter, the issuer, the QSPEs, the parties described in the Master Pooling and Servicing Agreements, the master servicer, the trustee, the subservicer, and the counterparty, then a question appears. We know now the examination of the Master Servicing Pooling Agreement filed with the SEC will reveal substantial barriers to a lawful foreclosure. But we also know that there are parties involved in this agreement as well as the insurance products in place intended for financial cover certain losses in certain situations. So as this process begins to start and works through the transfers and the delivery and the recordings and gets onto the market, it loses what the value is. And the person automatically has no standing because there's nothing to prove that there is jurisdiction to go to court for a foreclosure process to happen. The most important thing that stems from the securitization, or the central fact, is a note that has been securitized and submitted to an entity qualifying as a REMIC and organized as a qualifying special purpose entity is not enforceable. That is an incontrovertible fact that the servicer of the securitized mortgages will have to cope with as more and more homeowners discover the truth. So, in fact, the transfer actually never happens, never occurs. So, as we go through, I'd like to add into this document for the Module 10 a simple diagram, which is in the book, that shows the borrower to the mortgage and the organizer. You have a commitment as the endorser and endorser, the signature for the mortgage, if the signature actually transpires and takes place. Then that mortgage, the originator of that mortgage, the note and the mortgage, is assigned and recorded, but then it's sold to investor A. Then investor A is now holding the note and the mortgage, and it's assigned, and it's redirected to investor B. Investor B transfers to C, to D, and so forth. And here you are with the originator of the mortgage, and all of a sudden it's transpired into so many different hands that do you owe this person, this person, this person, or this person? Who holds that original contract? So I hope that this will just give you an outline of what securitization is, and for the purposes of what we have in this module today, I'll come back in the video and explain a couple of more things that will go along with securitization and how you can use it in court, and how important this detailed information is for you to know so that you can stand up on the battlefield, which is the courtroom, to fight your case and to win this illegal process. Thank you.